Hello and welcome to Inside Cottonwood. Thanks for joining us today. I'm your host, Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood. And with me today, I've got two individuals who work for the City of Cottonwood. Both of them work directly as it pertains to pool operations, pool venue, pool programming, all of those things. And so I'm really pleased that we're going to be, getting into pools this time of the year, because as we start up our summer season, we see an awful lot of people that really just come out to a lot of our pool functions. And it's really a neat program that the city offers to the public here in Cottonwood. So with me are both Jack Teal, who's our recreation coordinator too. Jack, you're over sports and special events programming with the City of Cottonwood and the Parks and Recreation Department. You've been with us for how long now?
I've been with you guys full-time, 5 years, but all the way back to 2007.
2007, so it's been
actually a little 2005.
I was going to say, I thought it was a little bit more before that. So, so you basically have mutated into a new position over the last, say, 4 years now. And so a lot of different things that have happened, but you're still involved with our pool operations, which is really a good thing because you're very knowledgeable. Your expertise is really needed. And so it's kind of one of those things that we enjoy having as our staff on board, especially as, water chemistry and water makeup as well, because a lot of people are always really concerned about that when they enter into a pool and the pool operations behind it. Sean Williams is with us today also. Sean is a lifeguard too. And we're going to get into a little bit more as to what a lifeguard 2 does, probably in our third segment here, and what exactly it is, as the youth in our community. We have a lot of youth that actually work as lifeguards in our community, like most communities. Yes, and so it's rather a unique opportunity. Gets a lot of youth involved, as well as gets them to a point where they understand and know how cities function. As Jack was doing the other day, and had a lot of people come in, young people, and so it's good to see that, and good to see, as we work our way through this, we see actually people stay on with the City of Cottonwood that have started with us, such as Jack. I'm gonna get into a little bit here, just a real quick session here, is that as we discuss swimming pools and pool programs, we should also discuss pool safety. And pool safety is really an integral part of what we do here at the city, and then also statewide programming, and especially even when you see water safety. There's so many things that happen in water safety around the state of Arizona. Everybody from the weathermen talk about making sure that you watch your children by pools and by water in and around pools, etc. Making sure that pool safety is of the utmost, because national statistics are staggering, as we take a look at child drownings. In recent analysis of child death by drowning studies, drowning is the leading cause of death for infants and young children in 18 states. Arizona is ranked number 7 to 9 on a yearly basis. And so, again, that's not really, it's one of those things where, again, we have sun almost 360 days out of the year, it seems like. And so we have a lot of pools in our area. But one thing is that of children 1 to 4 years of age who died from unintentional injury, nearly 30% died from drowning. Although drowning rates have slowly declined in the state as well as the United States, drowning is still the leading cause of injury-related death for young children ages 1 to 4 years of age. And 3 children die every day because of drowning. That is staggering, and it's unacceptable. For every child who dies from drowning, another 4 receive emergency department care for non-fatal submersion injuries. An estimated 5,000 children ages 14 and under are hospitalized each year due to unintentional drowning-related incidents. 15% of those die in the hospital. As many as 20% suffer severe permanent neurological disabilities. So again, we're talking as it pertains to what we do on a daily basis, almost year-round. We do it fairly, well, I think pretty close to 9 months out of the year, Jack, if we include the high school. Yeah. So we're starting up a lot of different operations then in March and April, preparing and stuff behind the scenes. So factors that influence drowning risks are lack of swimming ability, which is the #1 item, lack of barriers to prevent unsupervised water access, and lack of close supervision while swimming. And 2 of those affect us greatly, and that is the supervision while swimming, and then also the lack of swimming ability. And what we try to do, which we'll go over here in a little bit, especially with our Learn to Swim programs. I want to thank you both for being with us today. And I know that you've got a lot to do, got a lot on your plates and everything. And so we're going to learn a little bit more about our program behind the scenes. So Jack, how many pools does the city operate? What are the sizes of each of these pools?
We do have 2 recreational facilities. The outdoor pool that is open now until the end of August, or the beginning of August, that's a 300,000 gallon pool. And then we have the year-round indoor pool, which is a 60,000 gallon pool that does also feature a 4,000 gallon spa.
And the operation for the indoor pool is year-round, correct?
Yes, the operation for the indoor pool is constantly going 365 days a week.
Wow.
Year. Yeah. 365 days a year.
Okay,
long weeks.
We actually we shut down in November, and we have a little bit of a hiatus there at the Cottonwood Recreation Center, and we do a lot of maintenance and background maintenance and everything else. So we keep all the pumps going. We have background pumps to keep everything working just in case anything goes down. So tell us, when were these 2 facilities built?
The outdoor pool was originally built in 1980. It did recently undergo renovation in 2010, along when the recreation center was built.
Okay. And so as it pertains to the outdoor pool, what were those? There were specific changes that took place at that outdoor pool.
Yeah.
What were they?
The first thing when you come in, you're going to notice that there's no longer the kiddie pool out there, because we do have the zero depth indoor recreation center. But one of the biggest factors that has benefited not only us, but the swim team and the Cottonwood Clippers, is we went from a 6-lane pool to an 8-lane pool. So now we qualify for all those state meets. We've held some state qualifiers. We have that nice timing system over there now. So it's really helped us become a more competitive pool.
So it serves both the Cottonwood Clippers and the high school then in that capacity.
Oh, absolutely. It does. Each one of them hold meets there each year. So.
Okay. And so as it pertains to that, and we talk about childhood drownings here just a second ago, what are the most significant or unique challenges that you face or we face as a city involving prevention at our facilities?
Well, every pool's unique in its own way, and for us, the outdoor pool, we do have the diving board in the deep end of the pool. So we do have that deep diving well, which always creates issues when you get those non-swimmers or weak swimmers. And then when you're talking about the indoor pool, you've got the elevated play structure that it's hard to see around for our lifeguards, and then some of those columns that hold up the roof, those are all blind spots that as a lifeguard you need to be cognitive and aware of, so you can make sure you're adjusting your position and make sure there's no blind spot in the pool that you can't see.
So that makes it kind of rough then, Sean.
Yes, sir.
So you guys are always on guard. And your visual acuity has to be really, really sharp, because you have to see down under the water a lot of times. And that really is a difficulty on the outside pools as well, because outside pool, you have a lot of sunlight. And so that really affects your ability to look down deep. I mean, you have a lot of people, sometimes 200 to 250 kids in that outdoor pool, and you're watching for that. How does that work with you guys? How do you do that?
Well, it's important to stay focused and you can't be fatigued or anything like that. You need to be hydrated, because if you're not mentally prepared, then you're not physically prepared either, because you're going to be thinking about how sick you feel or how thirsty you are or anything like that. So you got to be prepared that way, and you got to be watching the water at all times. And even on the blind spots, you got to kind of keep moving around and everything, so that none of the blind spots will affect you.
So do you guys, now you work something out to where a lot of people will see guards actually move. What is that?
That's called a rotation.
It's called a rotation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And why do you do that?
We do that so that you get a new fresh spot, so that it's almost like there's new things to look at almost, so you stay almost interested in it. So, because you don't want to just, if you are staying in one spot, you'll stare at one spot and you'll kind of like days off or whatever, but it's important to just keep moving around and looking like you're reading a book. You got to keep going back and forth, and then you will rotate so that you get new things to look at almost.
Well, and I think that's the thing is you also have one of those people that actually will rotate out for 15 minutes to be able to, gather themselves back again, because, working for 45 minutes straight on an outdoor pool in the middle of summer when it's 115 degrees out there, and you're trying to look down in the pool and you are moving from guard station to guard station, it really impacts you.
Yes, sir.
And so that's one of those things. So there's nothing, and that I think that's the main key element here too, is there's no such thing as a drown-proof pool. There's is no such thing as the ability for us to be able to keep people from drowning. But that's why our guards are always attentive, always sharp, and they need to stay that way. So it's really kudos to you guys as to what you do in the youth of our community. It's really great. It's incredible. We're going to take a break right now, and I just want to thank Jack and Sean once again for joining us. We'll be back in one moment to discuss pool operations a little bit more, maybe some of the pool programs that we operate here with the City of Cottonwood. Thank you for joining us this morning for Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host, Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood. See you in a minute.
Did you know kids who play outdoors have healthier lungs?
Totally.
Did you know that boys that play with dolls make better husbands?
My son has lots of dolls.
But did you know terry cloth diapers breathe better?
I did.
It's totally true.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys know statistically friendly kids have more friends?
Yeah.
That's obvious.
Did you know most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right seat. Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat to make sure your child is protected.
Enroll, we say, we want you to be okay. Enroll, we say, take care of people for goodness sake. There's a plan for every budget, so don't accept defeat. Now you can get covered and still buy me treats.
You take care of your pets. Now it's their turn to take care of you. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn about your health insurance options.
Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. I'm Richard Faust, your host today, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood. With me today are both two individuals who are working at our pool operations, both Jack Teal and then also Sean Williams. So we're really pleased to have them both here answering questions and telling us what's going on with the City of Cottonwood and our pool facilities and how they operate, which is really kind of an interesting thing. If you ever have the opportunity to ask them questions, I'm sure that they would be honored to be able to answer anything while they're out there, especially if you can catch Jack. You'll be lucky. One of the things that we were talking about, of course, is the actual pool operations. There's state requirements, Jack, right?
Yes.
And people, they think that it's just the City of Cottonwood who has these policies, but we have to honor by law the actual requirements that the municipality has to protect, individuals at our pool facility. So when we operate, how many people do we have that we hire each year?
Typically, we carry around 40 part-time staff throughout the summer, and then scale that back during the school year to probably around 20, 25, just depending on the availability of the lifeguards.
So that's a lot of people.
Yeah, we carry a big base of lifeguards.
Okay, and why is that? I mean, what do we get into? Tell people, because I know that there's a lot of changes. That with so many, there's different guards coming on at different times.
Yeah.
But youth are definitely involved in so many things. I think that's probably part of the problem that we have.
Absolutely. You never want to deter students from academics or extracurriculars at school, things like that. So in order for us to work with them and be flexible about their schedules, understanding that they have other things outside of school that don't pertain to work, we got to make sure we have enough lifeguards to rotate in for people like Sean, who's an avid swimmer. Sean's going to school trying to get scholarships for swimming. So I'm not going to deter Sean and say, Sean, it's either work or swim. I'm going to bring on another person to say, hey, Sean, you take the time you need. We're going to rotate them in, and then when you're ready to come back, you let us know.
Right. So there's a lot of people like Sean out there that definitely between activities during the summertime, but they do want the work, which actually, is really a good thing, because then we show work atmosphere, we show that they have to be at work on time. We honor those things, and we discipline our employees in that context of things, of saying you have to be disciplined in order to move in society.
Absolutely.
And so it's kind of a unique opportunity. It's a win-win for both of us, for both the youth and for the city. Now, we have two pool facilities. How does that impact our community?
I think that it impacts us in a very positive way. Between all the programming things we have out there, we have a lot of different activities for people to do, whether it's regular swim, whether it's lap swim, whether you're taking the aerobics classes. There's something for all age groups that come out, and that includes the competitive swimmers. We have the swim teams. We've got the Cottonwood Clippers. We've got the Mingus Marauders in there swimming. So all in all, I think it's a very positive impact. It gives the kids something to do throughout the day where they're supervised. You know it's going to be safe, and you know they're going to have a good time.
Well, let's talk for a minute. Let's deviate here because you're talking about pool programs. What do we offer at the pool during the summertime?
Oh man, what don't we offer at the pool during the summer?
Is the truth.
So starting down, you have your typical just regular open swim hours. You've got your lap swim hours. You've got your water aerobics classes. On top of all those, we offer the biggest swim lessons program in all of Northern Arizona with our Learn to Swim program. That operates from 8:30 in the morning all the way till noon, and then we have another session at 4 o'clock to 5. In addition to that, we have the Cottonwood Luau that we put on with Fit Kids. We do the dive-in movies. All those different things we have going on at the pool. So there's plenty of programming, both indoors and outdoors.
Yeah, well, they're seeing it right now on the screen on the dive-in movies, and then also the Learn to Swim programs, and you can see what we do. Is rather curious. And we and our Learn to Swim programs. How many children? We get back to safety, and number one item on drownings is that children don't know how to swim. How many kids do we take through that Learn to Swim program yearly? Typically,
on a year-to-year basis, the numbers will fluctuate anywhere between 300 to 500.
Yes.
I think this year we're a little bit inflated. I think you'll see us up closer to that 500 year, that 500 student mark this year, which is going to be great for our program and all in all great for the community.
It's Red Cross based.
It is. It is a Red Cross based program. All of them do have to go through a certification course. It's a 36-hour extensive course on how to teach swim lessons, making sure you're prepared as a teacher and given the correct tools to make sure that from bottom up the program goes great.
So Sean, how are you involved in that program?
Well, right now I'm actually teaching a 10 o'clock class, and I teach level 4, which is the highest level that we offer. And those are kids that are like getting ready to move up, or if they wanted to move on to like the swim team with the Cottonwood Clippers or something like that. So I'm just trying to get them prepared and ready to go and move on and get further knowledge in strokes and everything like that, teaching all the strokes, butterfly, backstroke, and breaststroke, along with freestyle.
All right. So, and I see you guys out there. How do you dedicate yourself to that time, day in, day out, all summer long with those kids?
Well, personally, I enjoy swimming so much that I could do it all day. I don't mind, like, all the, well, it's not that bad, but some of them are like, oh man, I have to get in the water again today, and I'm like, I can't wait. I dive in, I'm ready to go. And a lot of people are very enthusiastic about it, which is, it's a great thing to see, and the kids like it too. We build a bond with the kids and everything. It's just a great program.
That's amazing. So, Sean, here real quick. Now, I learned this right before we came on, and you're going to San Diego State University.
Yes, sir.
And you're going to be an Aztec, and which is Jack's beloved. And are you going to continue, your swim operations there?
That's the plan. I don't see why I wouldn't, and I'm actually very, very excited for that.
I bet you are. Congratulations on that. I think it's just incredible. So that'll be a lot of challenges ahead for you as your future grows, and so I think that's really unique opportunities. So enjoy it, but commit yourself and dedicate. That's the main thing too. But thank you for being with us for all of these years too.
Thank you.
Keep coming back whenever you get the opportunity. So we talk about operations maintenance too, and that's one of the things that I said we would go into kind of behind the scenes. Jack, what is the maintenance schedule as it pertains to that, as we talk about the health of a pool? What does that involve?
When talking about the health of the pool, we are constantly, every hour, checking chemicals to making sure we're maintaining that nice, healthy water base that we're looking for. There's so many different things that go into the chemistry of the water, and something as simple as what type of shampoo or what detergent I use in my clothes affects that.
Wow.
So it's really important for us to make sure that we're maintaining that great hygiene of the pool, that great health of the pool, checking all those chemicals, making sure all of our numbers are in the required zones, making sure our turnover rates are where they need to be, making sure that everything we can do, everything that we can control is being met or exceeded in the context of what we can control.
So state requirements basically indicate that we have to turn that 300,000 gallon pool or that 60,000 gallon pool. We have to rotate that water. In other words, we have to filter the water and it has to go through what they call a turnover once every 12 hours, correct? That's incredible. That's a large amount of water.
It is.
And then to make sure that the chemicals are fed properly and everything, the health of a pool, I've heard sometimes it can be actually attributed to, you know, it's a living pool.
Absolutely. It's living in the context that it's always changing.
Right.
Something is always happening in the pool, whether the people realize it or not. For every person that gets into the pool, our skin is a natural pH of 7.0. So when our pool's at a 7.4 and somebody else at a 7.0 jumps in, that continues to bring it down. So then we have to make sure our chemicals are feeding correctly to keep that where we need to keep it.
That's incredible. So it is. It's really a challenge. It's complicated.
Yes.
You know, water chemistry, when we take a look at water chemistry, it really is a complicated process. And I watch these guys as they do the testings. How often do we do testings, Jack?
We test the chemicals every hour with the lifeguards or the lifeguard twos. And then to back us up, our maintenance department goes through and they check throughout the day as well to make sure that everybody's on the same page.
So we have the backup in process, and people don't have to really be concerned at all because of the backup processes that we have in place.
Between our automated system that feeds when it's supposed to feed, and between the staff we have checking them, we're safe.
We're safe.
We should be safe. We got a backup to our backup.
Okay, well that's a great thing. Now I know that a lot of people will always ask us, do you have a chlorine gas pool? You know, do you have saltwater pools? What do we have?
We do have a chlorinated. Both of our pools are run off a chlorination system. We do use the calcium hypochlorite tablet, so it is a chlorine system. It's no longer the chlorine gas.
Right, which was kind of unsafe.
Yes, it was unsafe in the context of if it's not done correctly.
Right.
And now we have a much easier system. It still presents its challenges to us, but it's a much easier system for everybody, and it doesn't pose that imminent threat that chlorine gas does.
Yes, that's true. Now, tell us a little bit about I know the operational makeup of the recreation center versus the outdoor pool. The rec center is a little bit different because, well, we do utilize the hypochlorite, calcium, you know, those types of pucks.
Yeah.
So the hypochlorite, we have to do that, but what else is different with the rec center pool?
So the rec center pool, actually, it's really great. It features a really good Defender filter system, and that Defender filter system is based on water conservation. So in a given year, it saves anywhere between $100,000 to $150,000 in cost savings just by limiting the amount of water that we have to continually add to the pool.
Right.
Being a year-round facility, it was an absolutely great option for that pool. The outdoor pool is a little bit different. We run off of high-rate sand filters out there. So that one we're introducing more water to it more often than the indoor pool.
So there's also a ultraviolet light that also kills bacteria in the indoor pool, correct?
Yeah. So the indoor pool, because you don't get all that natural sunlight that the outdoor pool does, we've actually got a really nice ultraviolet system in there that helps to not only kill all the bacteria and things like that, but it helps to knock down all those chloramines. So when that chlorine is gassing off indoors and you get that chlorine smell, that's what that UV sensor helps. It goes through and it kills all those chloramines, so that way they're not gassing off and creating that really pungent chlorine smell.
Wow, no, that's a simplified version of you know, the complexity of our pool operations. We're going to take another break here, and we're going to come back with both these gentlemen, learning a little bit more about lifeguards and what they do and how they operate. Again, thank you for joining us today. I'm your host, Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood. We'll be back in a moment.
This is why you get by on 4 hours sleep. Why you took a second job. This is why you taught yourself how to fix the plumbing. And spend hours juggling the bills. This is why you'll do whatever it takes to keep your home. And that is why we want to help. We are making home affordable, a free government resource that can make paying the mortgage easier. Now more options are available. Call 888-995-HOPE to talk one-on-one with a housing expert today.
Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. I'm Richard Faust. I'm your host today. It's rather interesting again as we get into summertime season, and as far back as I can remember as a kid, always going to pools during the summertime, even in Iowa. That's where I grew up, and it was one of those things where we had a huge outdoor pool, and I don't know how they did it, but it was an incredible operation even back then. But now we have a lot more expertise on it all of those years. So it's rather an interesting, complicated formula, but it is one that we know of, and how we utilize our abilities now in a technological world. It's pretty incredible as we see what we can do. So Jack and Sean, thanks again for being with us today as we start things off here again. We talked about the summer season. Behind the scenes, how do we prepare for that? Because I think that's something we need to go into as your preparation for summer months. When does that start?
Preparation for the summer really starts, we really get into it in March. We start going out for the summer. We start putting out information on the summer lifeguard positions, the summer cashiering positions, and that's when we really start focusing on getting the pools ready. During the outdoor pool, we shut down one pump to kind of conserve energy throughout the off months. So we got to make sure we get that pump going. We got to make sure we get that heater going, and then we got to make sure all of our filters are ready to go. We've got everything filtered out, and the cleaning that goes up after all those months of it being shut down, the cleaning and getting the deck ready and making sure all your no running signs and your no diving signs and all the legality stuff that we have to have out there as far as the lifeguard tubes, the lifeguard chairs, the ring buoys, making sure that all of those are in good working condition, all that. So starting out in March, it's just continues on throughout the year. There's no time off for us throughout the summer months.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, if we didn't run one pump during the winter months, and by March or April, if we just kept that down, what would the pool look like?
It would look like it would have to have somebody else to clean it.
Yes, it would be pretty green too.
It would be pretty green. It would have a lot of algae.
Yes,
that is for sure.
Yeah, so that's one of the things we have to do, and we have to pay for that, and it gets very expensive. Costs for outdoor pools like that are pretty expensive.
Yeah, and then because now we're a plaster, we're not a pool shell anymore. If you were to shut both those pumps off and leave that still water in there, now you're talking about possibly hurting. Or the potential risk of hurting your plaster now.
Yes, exactly. That pool environment again. So, so when we close the outdoor pool, how does that affect staff?
It affects the staff in the context of we don't need as many hours covered anymore. And it's good and it's bad. A lot of the kids will go off and they go to college. So those ones, it works hand in hand. We don't have the hours, you don't need the hours. You're off to college now. But what it does is for the people who do want to stay and work year-round, we kind of got to scale back their hours because we do keep so many on to make sure we're maintaining that flexibility with staff.
Right.
Everybody sees a little less hours. But we get them all in there. We keep them working. They all have great work ethics and all are right there chomping at the bit for those hours when they're available.
That's great. Now, Sean, you had indicated that you love being a guard. And it's pretty unique, but I mean, most of the guards are pretty much that way.
Yeah.
They really do enjoy it, and I've noticed that especially over the last 25 years that I've been working. Actually, 27 years I've worked with municipalities now, and it's one of those things to watch young people come up through the guards, and you see a lot of people even in the work atmosphere today that are in their 30s, 40s, or whatever, and 50s. In fact, even an old boss of mine that was a director down in Casa Grande, Arizona, Jerry Sullivan, he actually was a guard. He was a guard when he was a sophomore, I think a freshman, sophomore in high school. He went through and he went to school at ASU, graduated from Arizona State University with business major background, and got in as a coordinator for the city of Casa Grande, continued on as he went back to his hometown, and he progressed all the way up through and became director and community services general manager, and then for the city of Casa Grande. He's now retired. So I think actually he's about 64 or so today. But so you see those people, and they had a great career, and it's pretty incredible. So we'll watch for you here, Sean, as we see you in the years to come. I wanted to ask you, as a lifeguard too, what do you do outside of work to make sure that you're staying in good physical and mental condition? Because you talked about that a little bit.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm on the swim team for both the Cottonwood Clippers and the Mingus swim team, and that keeps me in pretty good physical condition. I like to hike and everything like that, so I stay fit. But also around the pool, lifeguards are supposed to. Well, we do swim a 300 yards every time that we work, and then lifeguard twos are held to a bit of a higher standard, which we swim 500 yards.
I see.
Yes, sir.
So what are your certification requirements?
Certification requirements, you need to be, for lifeguard 2, you need to be WSI certified, which is swim lessons.
So it's water safety instructor?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And then
I got that right.
And then first aid certified, CPR certified, and lifeguard certified.
Okay. So that's so your swimming lesson instructors are certified. That entails quite a bit. I mean, the testing process is pretty rigorous. You know, you're going through, and especially the physical process is very rigorous. You know, so I see these kids and they're going in the water and they swim better than I do, which is a great thing, because if I'm going down, I'm going to want somebody that's going to be able to pull me back up. And so even, you know, as we look at all of the guards, do we have kind of like an equal amount of young men and young ladies then?
Yeah, I would say, especially after this year, I would say it's right. It's pretty much
50,
even.
50.
I would say it's pretty much a split right down the middle this year.
Okay. So if someone was interested in being a lifeguard, what do they do?
Well, the first thing is you want to make sure that you can get into a lifeguarding course. And the City of Cottonwood does put one on, typically each summer starting in May. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure you turn in an application. Just because you're going for the lifeguarding class, because that is a Red Cross course, it's not a City of Cottonwood course, that doesn't qualify you alone. So you have to make sure you're putting in that application. You'll go through the course. You'll make sure that you're showing competency in all your skills. You're passing the test with at least an 80% grade or better. Okay. And then, you know, you go through the interview process and you get brought on.
There you go. Okay, well that's good. It's good information to know, because there's a lot of parents out there that wonder whether my child can be a lifeguard, and so I think it gives them a better idea as well. So, you know, when we look at I guess as we look at swim lesson instructors, they're certified. During the day as a lifeguard, what are some of the challenges of being on duty all day long, Sean?
I would say one of the biggest challenges is the heat, especially in Arizona, particularly because it can get very hot outside, up to like 110 or higher, which is pretty devastating. You just got to make sure that you're hydrated, and you kind of just want to sit there, and like if you're overheating, you just want to sit down. But it's important to keep moving and not stay fatigued, or to stay unfatigued, and you can get in the water and cool off, and just to stay prepared.
Okay. Mentally
and physically.
So how do you guys, you're just talking about being prepared, and you know, it's always a factor involved in lifeguarding, but how do you prepare for undetermined amount of kids that may come to the pool each day? All of a sudden, I mean, I see busloads of kids sometimes, and they're just all of a sudden, boom, they're there and they're running all over the place. How do you prepare for that?
Well, we actually have a pretty unique system of scheduling lifeguards. We have a lifeguard, which is we call it a floater guard, which if one pool gets busier than the other, we send them over to say the indoor pool gets busier than the outdoor pool, we send them over from the outdoor pool to the indoor pool, and vice versa. So we have a guard that's switching around just to relieve people and make sure that they get water and that they're ready to go.
That's great. So kind of my last question for you, is lifeguards, are there any specific times that you particularly enjoy guarding, and for instance special events or things of that nature?
For me, I think my favorite part about being a lifeguard, or like my favorite part of the day, is probably swim lessons, because you get to spend a lot of time with the kids, and you get to teach them, which my favorite thing to do is swim, and I get to teach them that, and I just like sharing information like that and everything, and it's just a fun time.
Well, you're going to enjoy yourself at San Diego State University, so enjoy again, and thanks for being with us here today, Sean. And we had a little bit of the Sean Williams, you know, hour here at the very end. Jack, I appreciate your time as well. Thank you very much, because I know how busy you are as an individual too. So thanks for taking this time out today. We learned a lot about pool operations, pool scheduling, what's going on in the background of pool maintenance. It's very intriguing. It's a complicated process. process, but we're on it. And it's good to see that we've got staff that are just incredible, likable people. The young people are incredibly so, and we're very, very gifted here in our community to have such a talented group of youth, and it really is amazing to see them come out. So again, thank you very much, Sean, and good luck in your studies. Just wanted to thank you for joining us today for Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host, Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood. Enjoy your week and your weekend.